Arsenal lose the Carabao Cup final to Man City. What went wrong and what happens next? Welcome to Olivia's Sports Arsenal for the true deep dive of our first cup loss. Right, let us just say it, that one hurt. Arsenal walked into Wembley today with a real chance of winning their first piece of silverware in a very long time. The fans were buzzing, the players looked ready. And for a good chunk of the first half, it genuinely looked like this could be the day the Gunners finally ended their long wait. But football has a way of breaking your heart when you least expect it. 2 goals from a 21-year-old named Nico O'Reilly in the space of 4 minutes in the second half was all it took for Manchester City to lift the Carabao Cup for the 9th time. Arsenal went home with nothing again. So what exactly happened out there today? Where did it all go wrong? And what does this mean for Arsenal going forward? Let us break it all down for you. The Olivia's Sports Arsenal community. The build-up, a tough week before the final. Before we even talk about the game itself, we need to talk about the cards Arsenal were dealt heading into this final. Mikel Arteta received 2 big injury blows before kick-off. Both Ebereki Eze and Jurrien Timber were ruled out. That is 2 important players missing from what was supposed to be one of Arsenal's biggest days of the season. It meant Kai Havertz started in attack and Ben White came in at right back, which changed the look of the team quite a bit. There was also a goalkeeping question hanging over the team. Would it be David Raya or Kepa Arrizabalaga between the posts? Arteta went with Kepa, which raised a few eyebrows. As it turned out, that decision came back to haunt Arsenal in a big way. But with all that said, Arsenal still had a strong enough squad to go and win this game. So what happened? First half, Arsenal start brightly, but Trafford says no. Here is the thing about the first half. Arsenal were actually really good in the opening stages. They came out with energy and purpose, pressing high and moving the ball well. It did not look like a team that had just had 2 players ruled out. Just 6 minutes into the game, things nearly opened up for the Gunners. Martin Zubimendi played a lovely through ball and Havertz found himself one-on-one with City goalkeeper James Trafford. It was a golden chance, but Trafford stood tall and made the save, and that was just the start of it. The ball fell to captain Bukayo Saka on the rebound and he shot. Trafford saved it again. Then Saka had another attempt. Trafford saved that too. 3 first-class stops in about 10 seconds. It was a stunning piece of goalkeeping that kept City level when they really should have been behind. Now, here is a question worth thinking about, Olivia's Sports Arsenal community. If one of those early chances had gone in, do you think Arsenal win that game? Because there was a real moment there where the game could have gone in a completely different direction. After that burst of early action, the game settled down. City began to get more of the ball and control parts of the game, but they could not break through Arsenal's defence. William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes were excellent at the back, dealing with Erling Haaland well and keeping things tight. There were a couple of half chances late in the first half. Piero Hincapié headed over from a Saka corner. And right at the end of the half, Haaland did the same after some good work from Jeremy Doku on the right side. Half-time came with the score at 0-0. It was tight, it was tense, and it was completely open. Both teams had their chances. Everything was still to play for. Second half, City turn it on and Arsenal fall apart. Whatever Pep Guardiola said at half-time, it worked. City came out for the second half as a completely different team. They were quicker, sharper, and more aggressive. They pressed Arsenal higher and started getting into dangerous areas much more often. Rodri and Antoine Semenyo both had efforts that went wide. Saliba had to make another brilliant intervention to nick the ball off Haaland's foot just as he was about to shoot. You could feel it coming. And then on 59 minutes, it happened. Rodri played the ball wide to Bernardo Silva, who nudged it down the right to Ryan Cherki. Cherki swung in a cross from the right side. It was not a particularly vicious cross, and it was the kind of cross a goalkeeper should deal with, but Kepa got his hands to it and dropped it. The ball fell behind him. O'Reilly nipped in ahead of Zubimendi and nodded it over the line. Goal, 1-0 City. It was the moment the game changed, and Arsenal barely had time to gather themselves before it happened again. Just 4 minutes later, on 63 minutes, City doubled their lead. Doku probed on the left. The ball was recycled out to Matheus Nunes on the right. He played a neat reverse pass to Rodri, who found Nunes again in space. Nunes Nunes had time on the ball and whipped it across to the back post. O'Reilly had made a 20-yard run from deep and he got to the ball first, heading it back across goal and into the far corner past Kepa. 2-0, game over. What made it worse was that Arteta had actually been trying to make changes before that second goal. He was lining up to bring on Ricardo Calafiori and Noni Madueke, but City scored before the substitutions could happen. The timing could not have been worse. The late push, so close, but not close enough. Arsenal did try to fight back. To be fair to them, they kept going even when the game looked done. Calafiori came on and had a header blocked before driving forward and whipping in a cross shot that shaved the far post by millimetres. That was so close. Then Gabriel Jesus, who came on late, saw a header loop over Trafford, but smash off the top of the crossbar with just 3 minutes to go. The chances were there, but the goals were not. City saw the game out with confidence and composure. The full-time whistle blew. Manchester City 2, Arsenal 0. City claimed their 9th League Cup title. Guardiola won his 5th as a manager, another record for the most decorated manager in the history of the competition, and Arsenal went home with nothing again. Who stood out and who let Arsenal down? Let us talk about the players. William Saliba was the best Arsenal player on the pitch by a long way. He was brilliant in the first half, won every header and dealt with Haaland well. He made a crucial last-ditch tackle to deny Haaland a shot in the second half. He picked up the Player of the Match award, and honestly, he deserved it. He can hold his head up high today. Gabriel Magalhaes was also solid alongside him. Declan Rice had moments with his passing and deliveries and showed flashes of his quality, but none of them could change the game when it mattered most. Bukayo Saka had those early chances denied by Trafford, but faded badly after that. Victor Gyökeres and Leandro Trossard both had very quiet games and offered little when Arsenal needed someone to step up and make something happen. But the player whose performance will be talked about the most is Kepa. He was directly responsible for the opening goal. You simply cannot drop a cross like that in a cup final at Wembley. It was a costly mistake, and it changed the whole game. He was rated just 3 out of 10 in the player ratings, the lowest of any Arsenal player on the day. And the question that Arsenal fans will be asking tonight is simple. Why was Kepa playing instead of David Raya in the first place? The bigger picture, what does this mean for Arsenal? This loss means Arsenal's wait for silverware goes on. They last won a trophy in 2020 when they lifted the FA Cup. That might not feel like a long time ago, but for a club with Arsenal's ambitions, any gap hurts. This was also their 7th League Cup final defeat. 7, that is a painful number to sit with. But here is what matters now. The season is not over, not even close. Arsenal are still alive in the FA Cup. They travel to Southampton for their FA Cup quarter-final on Saturday, the 4th of April. That is a huge game and a real opportunity to keep the dream of a trophy this season alive. Then there is the Champions League. Arsenal face Sporting CP in the last 8. That is a European quarter-final. Not many clubs in the world get to say that. If Arsenal can go deep in that competition, this season could still be remembered as a special one. And of course, the Premier League is still going. There is a lot of football left to be played. So yes, today hurts. Losing a cup final always does. But Arsenal fans should not give up on this season. Is still plenty to play for. Let us hear from you the big questions after today. We always love hearing what you all think. So here are some questions to get the conversation going in the community. Should Arteta have started David Raya instead of Kepa? Looking back now, does it feel like the wrong call? 2, if that early Havertz or Saka chance had gone in during the first 6 minutes, do you think Arsenal win the game? 3, are you still confident Arsenal can win something this season? The FA Cup and Champions League are still there. Do you believe? 4, who do you think was Arsenal's most disappointing player today, and what would you have done differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from every single one of you. Final word, dust yourself off and go again. Look, today was hard. Nobody is going to pretend otherwise. Arsenal were in this game. They had their moments. They pressed, they created, they showed real fight in parts. But at the end of the day, two moments of quality from a young City player and one big mistake from Kepa decided the afternoon. That is football, and that is what makes it so painful and so beautiful at the same time. For the Olivia Sports Arsenal community, days like today remind us why we care so much, because when Arsenal do finally lift that trophy, and they will, it is going to feel incredible. Every painful defeat along the way will make that moment even sweeter. The international break is here now, which gives everyone a chance to breathe. When football comes back, Arsenal have an FA Cup quarter-final against Southampton on the 4th of April. That is the next big chance. That is the next step. Stay behind the team. Stay loud. Stay proud. Arsenal are still very much in this season, and as always, we will be right here covering every single moment of it together. Come on, Arsenal.